Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Lion's Den with Seth. This is me and the rest of the crew. So first I want to say, hey, I appreciate y'all being on, and this is an outstanding day to be alive. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit the share button so you can let everybody know who we are and what we do. Who we are is the Lion's Den. What we do is we encourage and we communicate and talk about things, all things growth, development, and action. You understand? And action. So without further ado, Big Herm, how you feeling, bro?
Man, I'm good, man. Despite, I'm good, but the news that happened in Buffalo bothered me, you know what I mean, with the mass shooting. Mm-hmm. I do want to take time to recognize that, you know what I mean, because that you think you just going in there and go grocery shopping, next thing you know, some crazed man with a racist agenda comes out and start blasting just cause, you know what I mean? And this is the world that we live in today. Mm-hmm. Everybody has problems, but, some 18-year-old kid, 18, 19-year-old, not a kid, man, decides that he wants to act out on his beliefs and take other people's lives, parents, grannies, away like that. It's a tragedy. So I'm starting this off on a somber mood. I'm gonna liven up in a little bit, but man, that right there really shook me.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I know when we was talking about this earlier in the chat, man, it's like in the back of my mind, I feel like when the pandemic really started to kick off and we was on lockdown, you didn't see that much, maybe because people just wasn't out and about like that. And it just seems like, the weather changed and the masks come off and people back to turning up. And it seemed like they're doing it with vengeance, because just less than an hour ago, it was another shooting. You get what I mean? So it's just wild out here, man. But no, you're absolutely right. Senseless act of violence is never anything to just bat an eye at. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Larry, what's popping, man? How you feeling?
Hey, man, I'm chilling, man. How y'all?
Man, slow motion, bro. Slow motion. You've been out there doing some yard work.
Yard work, shopping for the yard and stuff, man. I guess most people told me it's just home ownership, just responsibility. I'm like, man, what the hell's going on with me, man? Why am I at Lowe's looking for yard decor? Like, when did this start become a thing with me? And it's just, I'm getting older, man. I'm looking at life a little different, man.
I'm glad you said it. Yes, your ass getting old is what it is.
No, I'm getting older. I didn't say old. I'm getting older.
Taking pride in what you just purchased, man.
Exactly, I know, man. And all the comments that I got was pretty reinforcing, because it was just like, it's a blessing, and I look at it like it really is, though. Because granted, I could be complaining about a lot of things, but I'm looking at home decor. That means my life is pretty good, man. And I'm truly blessed, and I'm not rubbing it in nobody's face or anything. It's just that at that moment, I'm like, bro, why am I shopping for home decor or yard decor? Like, what the hell is going on with me?
Hey,
but anyway.
Everything is all fun and good until you start yelling at the kids about crossing, turning in your driveway, or getting up in
on your grass a little bit. You know what I mean?
You're like,
nah, I ain't there yet, man. I ain't there yet.
We gotta have a moment of silence also for the single ladies out there, man. You know what I mean? Okay. Their guru, man, Kevin Samuels just passed away. You know what I mean? I'm not making light of Kevin Samuels, you know what I mean? But I knew there was a lot of ladies, expressing some emotions online. I can't tell if it was joy or what it was, man. But
man,
acting a straight fool. And I can't talk about none of this stuff because I'm in Facebook jail for another 30 days.
See, first of all,
multiple accounts,
listen. Hey, look. So first of all, you in jail for good reason, okay?
No, I'm not.
Right?
No,
because
actually,
you're crazy. Yeah, because you're crazy. But with that being said, hey, listen, it was silly. It was very, very silly. And like, don't get me wrong, nobody's death is ever, something to laugh at. But the response from certain individuals, you get what I'm saying, was very just crazy. It wasn't called for. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't called for at all.
You know what my Korean grandma tell me? She tell me, Skipper, hit dogs holler.
Yo, oh my God, you got so many issues. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let us know if you believe what he says as far as hit dogs holler. I think that's true. But also, too, I want to let you guys know, if you guys are tuning in, we would appreciate y'all for tuning in. And our topic today is lessons beyond the classroom with the teacher, right, Mr. Duncan. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, he got very, very sick, and he let me know a couple of days in advance. Hey man, I'm not feeling well. I'm just want to let you know. And I saw him coughing and everything, just not good. And he let me know that he wouldn't be able to make it. However, he won't make it on this show. But what we're going to do is kind of prime everybody as far as how we have our group, our normal discussions about different topics. And then we're going to have him come on, and then he's going to give us more of a professional, if you will, point of view. And his point of view is being a teacher. So again, speedy recovery from Mr. Duncan. He will be back though, and we're going to have him on for the part 2 of this discussion here. So fellas, look, we're talking about school, man, and the kids. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we're discussing not just the lessons beyond the classroom, but what is the working relationship between the teacher and the parents? Like, where does the teaching start and end outside of just the academics, right? Just even life skills. So Larry, man, what you think, bro?
So for me and the school that my kids go to, we're pretty, me, my wife, and the teachers are pretty interactive with each other through email. So a lot of they send out weekly reports, hey, wrap up of the week, what's to come next week. And if anything is going on with the kids, they quick to give us send an email out or a phone call or whatever. So our relationship is really good. Like, we're all on one page, one accord. And anytime they deviate from what they normally, their typical selves is, they quick to hit us up and say, hey, I don't know what, maybe it's just a bad day. And it's just not the teachers, it's anybody we encounter within that school. Like, seriously, I'm talking about front office, extended care, faculty, man, they all in on, hey, today maybe was a bad day for little Larry. You might want to talk to him about X, Y, and Z. And, we just bounce them right off each other. So I think it's important to show face, one, and then two, to be active, be an active parent, not too much of a reactive parent.
Yeah.
I think for me in my area, I try to be active with my children's teachers as well, because there's a lot of trust that you got to give teachers, because they spend more time with them a lot of times than you do. They're at school all throughout the day, right? So, I start off my conversations with the teachers like, I'm on your side. Like, you let me know what's going on, and I'm going to back you. I'm gonna still listen to my kid, but I'm going to listen to the teachers and make sure that we on the same side. But the problem I'm having now, man, is just that as much as I do, I don't feel like they give you the same response back. And a lot of that's because they're understaffed, they overwork, they feel like they're underpaid, so I'm going to give you a quick example of what happened with my daughter, right?
Okay.
My daughter was taking a test, and she was finished with her test. So her friends was talking in the back of the class, right? So the teacher decides, now they took my daughter's test up and everything, so she don't have any more tests in front of her. I'm not excusing her for talking while the test was going on, but they was going to give her a 0 out of 100 question test. I was like, so the punishment you're going to punish her by affecting her grade. What happened to detention? You know what I mean? Is that what you do? So I talked to the principal. The principal said, no, that's not what we do. And instead of reinstating the grade that she got, they made her do a whole nother assignment. I was pissed off about it. But, I still talk to my daughter about, you never allow anybody to put your future inside somebody else's hand. You ain't supposed to be talking during the test. I agree with the punishment, but it's like now, it's like a constant conflict I'm having with the teachers. I try to.
Yeah. So my question is, do you think it's a generational thing? You know what I mean? As far as what you're used to versus what, the teachers are doing now, because I remember back in the day, teachers would threaten us to do that. You get what I'm saying? Like, look, if you one more thing, you're going to get an F, boom, boom, but no one has really done that. You get what I'm saying? Larry, you think it's a difference within the thought process as far as how we're teaching our children and how the teachers are teaching our children?
Yeah, I think it's a difference because, to be honest, the way these kids are learning today is just different. I can't really relate to a lot of what my kids are bringing home as far as homework and stuff, because it's just like the example I gave you with the whole math thing. When they switched to, I forget what they call it, but they switched to where 1 + 1 is not 2 anymore. It's whatever. You got to go through all these multiple steps to get to the answer. I can't relate to that, because if you don't have examples or you don't have a workbook, which they don't have workbooks anymore, it's just like a worksheet. It's just different. Like, it's just totally different, and that's why I say you got to be in tune with your teachers. Because the teachers can provide us with the links and sort of different resources where we can go and find the answer. But outside of that, I can't help much with my kids. It's the teaching has changed so much and so drastic. Like, I'm lost in a lot of those subjects. They don't even teach in cursive writing anymore. Like, why is that language arts is merged together with some of the other subjects? So in reading and language arts, I think it's together now. It's just different, man.
Yeah, it's always, I think it's with everything, stuff is just going to evolve. I mean, we learn different from our parents, but I don't think nothing to this, like what Larry's talking about, nothing that changed this drastically. You know what I mean? With technology, at everybody's fingertips, it's always going to be a new and advanced, fast way. But that math stuff, I don't even attempt to look at it. I wasn't even good at the basic math, so I'm not damn
so stupid. It's crazy because same here. It's wild. And I remember us talking about this during the beginning of the pandemic, how we had to, like me and Simone, we had to both go on YouTube to learn, different things because I wasn't getting it. But at the same time, do you think that not only us, right, as far as trying to understand what the kids are doing, but the teachers got to grab a hold of as much, as, if you consider how much information children are getting these days, they're trying to find a way to harness it, to explain it to them the best way possible based off of what's around us now. You see what I'm saying? So we have different, I would say we have more technology, obviously, right? It's more advanced. And so therefore you may have to think differently in order to be more, I would say not necessarily compatible, but you will have a greater chance in the future by understanding a little bit more of your environment, especially with academics. Now, you think that's something?
I think, man, I think one thing we got to acknowledge, man, for me, my classroom wasn't that big. Now, my kids' classrooms, there's a lot of students in each class. You know what I'm saying? So it's more students, more technology. And again, here in this area, we're short-staffed teachers, short-staffed bus drivers, short-staffed everything in the school system. So they are overworked. So it's like, how do they get that information out there to them when they're exhausted?
See? Yeah, and dealing with their own stuff at the same time. So listen, shout out to Miss Ebb. She says, my kids' teachers doesn't assign homework. I don't know what type of work she does until it's brought home after being graded. Wait,
I agree. My daughter in 5th grade she don't have homework. I like, yeah, homework. No, but my son in 4th grade bring home homework every day. So one of the things I usually do, because I pick them up from school, is I always ask the question of, what did you do today? What did you learn? I don't ever say how was school. I say how was school, but I want them to go into details and kind of recap what they learned today. So that's kind of how I know what was going on and what happened, and to really see if they really learned something too. So I always ask those open questions like, hey, what did I do today? Well, okay, talk about that. And then they get so used to it that they start spilling it out because they know where I'm going when I ask these questions.
Mm-hmm. I don't ask none of that.
I should. You a deadbeat. Why you ain't listen asking your kids?
I'm always just trying to check my kids' grades. You know what I mean? And see what they got going, because you could. That's one good thing about electronics. I can check my kids' grades right now. You know what I'm saying, to see how they're doing overall in class, and just try my best to keep them on the right track. But knowing I don't know how to do none of that homework assignment, I tried it before, so I had to give my kids advice instead. You know what I mean? I was like, look, man, here's what I did when I was in school. I copied off of somebody else's paper.
See, listen,
you need to do the same. Don't come ask me nothing. Do what I did. You know what I mean? Hey, you got the answer to number 5? Yeah. Look at me now. I'm a success story.
Listen, hey, yeah, you check grades hourly. Is that what you do, bro?
I try to.
Not hourly. They gonna change in an hour, man. They don't upgrade them till the end of the week.
You know, hell yeah, man. Yeah, you know that grade will be sitting on there. I'm still waiting for my teacher to update it. And I got to email the teacher. Like, what's going on?
They understaff and overwork. Remember?
Yeah.
So now, look, we talked about that, right? A little bit. Now, how would you say your relationship is? I know you said to Herm, you're working on it. Now, I would say me and Simone's teacher, actually, that was the teacher that was coming on, Mr. Duncan. He actually he reiterates a lot of the things that we say at home there. And it's more than just the academic stuff, because that's his job, right? As far as you have to teach them this, but he goes a step beyond, and we'll talk more about that when he gets on. But do you think, right, both of y'all, and ladies and gentlemen that's listening, let us know about the teachers that you've had that you can recall. Can you recall the teacher that went a step above and a step beyond the normal, hey, here's your homework, do what I say do, and it's graded and I get out and graduate?
My teachers?
Yeah.
I recall every teacher that paddled me. You know what I'm saying? Because we had paddling in my school.
God, dog it.
They really cared, man. They wanted me on the straight and narrow. They beat my ass.
Oh my God. So you now, do you appreciate them?
Hell no. You know, no, I'm playing. Yeah, no. I cut up real bad, you know, dealing with parents just divorcing and stuff like that. And my whole world switched when I switched schools. So my teachers was dealing with hell on wheels every day as soon as I came into class.
See.
You know, so and I went to a small little country elementary school in Pembroke, Kentucky. You know what I mean? They ain't know what a Korean and black kid was. So
see. And what about you, Larry?
So at our school, we was set up a little bit differently, right? So any of the kids that was academically sound, we were kind of grouped together from freshman year all the way up through graduation, 12th grade, right? So we was always in these advanced classes, and then you had the rest of the students in, you know, the regular, you know, whatever classes they was. So it was almost like a divide already, you know, freshman year, and I didn't realize it until after years later. So my relationship with my teachers was they knew my potential. They knew what I had as far as what I brought to the table. So they kept us busy, and they kept us, I guess, advancing in our subjects. So it wasn't just here's chapter 1, read it, answer the questions, back a book, turn in the answer. Like, we went a little bit deeper than that. And I felt like for the regular students, it was just that you show up in classroom, hey, here's a worksheet, do that, boom, you get your grade, whether you do it or not, if you copy off somebody's paper. The care wasn't there. And you see it. I seen it with my own eyes. So there was some that cared, and there was some that just was there for a paycheck.
So Larry, so what you telling us in the audience is that you had a class that was outside of school, like in a little trailer. That's how they kept y'all.
We went to the same teachers. It just I was in advanced English instead of just
Is that
English,
what they
whatever that
said?
was.
They said you was there.
Yeah.
Oh, I was. Trust
The
me,
helmet was
because
to
we
keep
got
your big brain in.
You had a
we
helmet
got
on.
Yeah, the helmet to keep your big
nah.
brain in, but you was
We got
Keep you
college
super.
credit. We got college credit for my classes.
that's what you learned.
Get it right.
Yo, let's hop into something, sir.
All right, what up?
In the news, man. I mean, I don't believe this is happening in my school here, and our audience members help me out if you believe it's happening in y'all's. But in the news, man, there's big talk about what teachers should and should not teach. You know what I mean? In Florida, they passed legislation saying you can't say gay or something like that in school, right? And so the argument was, you know what I'm saying, there's a lot of teachers that are in the LGBTQ plus community, right? And they feel like now they've got to hide who they are. They can have pictures of their family up, and how do they talk to their students when the students ask them, "Hey, what did you do with your family today?" You know, they all in tears and shambles about why they can't express how their family lifestyle is because of that legislation that was just passed in Florida. So, you know, I've seen, you know, where we had like transsexuals come read to students and stuff like transsexual day. I don't know what it is, where they come to the library and read to the students and whatnot. And a lot of other things getting pushed in school as far as the LGBTQ plus community goes, right? Do we think that is the appropriate place for that, or is that something that a parent should talk to their kid about?
Woo, Larry, what you think, bro?
Yeah, for me, I think that's something the parents should actually have a discussion on with their child, because to be quite honest, it's all around us anyway, whether it's through social media, whether it's on the TV shows you're watching, the movies, you know, your neighborhoods. Like kids are not dumb. They see this every day. It's just up to me, it's on the parents to explain what they're seeing and to explain why this situation. I'm not necessarily explain why the situation is what it is. Just explain what they're seeing. Like, the world has changed. This is what it is, and leave it at that. I don't know if the schools need to go as far as actual day and all this other stuff. I don't think they should go that route. But I do think, as a teacher, I know you're talking about the Florida thing. I don't understand why they can't explain. Yeah, me and my family went out and had this, that, and the over the weekend. You can keep it as vague as you want. You don't have to say me and my lover, me and my partner, or whatever. Hey, me and my family went to Six Flags yesterday. You know, your family could be you and your guy, you and your whatever partner. You can keep it in those terms. It's still family, right? It's still your significant other, your partner, whatever. You don't have to break it down, me and this individual, because we're the same sex. I have to let you know that's
I gotta let you
what
know
it is.
There was a teacher. There was a teacher that said, you know, his students started asking him questions about being gay. So he put away he was a geometry teacher. So he put away the geometry curriculum for a day and just let the teachers ask him questions about what it's like to be gay. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, where does that fit in the school?
Sorry. So this is what I say, man. It's multi-level, right? So us being parents, we need to be responsible and know that the world is out there, and we owe it to our children to prepare them for it as much as possible, regardless of how we think it should be.
Absolutely.
Now, when it comes down to the teachers' responsibility is to help them with understanding it. Look, if they're trying to understand, if the teachers are there to help them understand academics, they're still helping them understand life. And to that point, how would a teacher help a child to realize that what he see, even though it's not, I would say, normal on television, instead of a mother and a father, now you have a mother, or a father, is to talk about it and to create a level of normalcy so that they won't feel away. Because what I will say is, some of us being parents, we don't have the emotional intelligence to have that type of conversation with children because we don't know what to say. And then sometimes we pass on our cognitive biases, you're right, and say, yo, don't worry about them, boom, 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 because they this and they that. For example, we were talking about this very loosely the other day when my daughter was in a kind of like a daycare center. There was a boy that she knew the year before. He comes back that next year as still a boy, but with longer hair and now wearing a dress. Okay. Name changed. Okay. The parents supported this. Where I had my issue with is when that boy was able to go into the girls' bathroom without parents knowing, hey, this is what's going on. So there is still a responsibility there. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, because we all have daughters, Larry, what would you do if that was your daughter and she told you that happened? Uh-oh, is he there?
Larry, man, it's like
I'm there. You
or something.
no, I'm there. You breaking up on my end. I can't barely hear what you're saying, brother.
Oh, okay. Did you hear me, Herb?
I heard you, yeah.
Yeah, what would you do?
Can you hear me, Larry?
I can hear you,
No.
but when he was talking, he was in and out on my end.
Okay, so he asked, he talked about his daughter going to school or daycare with a boy that one day came back to daycare with long hair and a dress. Cool, you know what I'm saying? But now eventually they started letting that boy go into the little girl's bathroom without telling the other parents. And since we all got girls, how would you feel about that?
Yeah, I would feel some kind of way, and that to me, that's a touchy subject anyway, because it's like with all these laws changing so rapidly and so fast that everybody's their own individualities. It's like you got a girls' bathroom, a boys' bathroom, and then you got like this gender neutral bathroom. Like, where are we going with this? So that's a touchy subject, you know, even for me, because I would think you need to give some advance notices. Hey, this is what's going on, effective this date. This is what's going to start happening. So, okay, boom, I can get prepared. I prepare my child for what's to come and understand, hey, here's, if you see this, here's why it's happening. Well, you know, just be able to articulate what they're seeing before they come home and start asking daddy why, mommy why is this boy in our class, in our bathroom when it's really a girl, or whatever the case may be. You know, I think they should have gave some a heads up. Hey, here's what's happening. Here's what you can expect, and here's, you know, some rationale behind it, so that you can articulate that and explain it to your children. Just doing it right off the cuff, yeah, that's foul, man. You're gonna open up a lot of you're gonna have a lot of angry parents standing at that door the next day.
Bruh.
The one good thing about, I guess, girls, they all have stalls or whatever. You know what I mean? At least you got that. But you know, the whole bathroom thing is just silly to me. It's just dumb to me anyway. That's just me. You know, I want to go back to what you said about, you know, the belief about the teachers and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, and this is where it's like, okay, it's not the teacher's responsibility to pass on what their personal belief is.
No.
Like, what if the teacher don't agree with gay folks?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Is it now, are we opening the door for that teacher to express like, hey, yeah, that's not right in the eyes of God? You know what I mean? All this other stuff. I feel like they should just leave that stuff alone. You know, leave it alone. You could talk about your family. If that's your husband, you a man, and that's your husband. That's your husband. Cool. We ain't got to go no deeper than that. You know, you don't need to pass on like, hey, you know, this is normal, this is right, or this is wrong, or, you know what I'm saying, or you're going to hell.
It just is what it is.
It is what it is. You ain't got to go to either one of them. Only thing you need to tell the kids is to respect everybody. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Respect everybody. You know what I mean? And talk to your parents about, you know what I'm saying, what beliefs should be. Not all parents are going to get that right, but neither is all teachers either. You know what I mean? I'm the only personal teacher to tell my kid what's right or wrong. Right. And then when my kids get older, you know, hope they find their own, you know, what they believe. But yeah, I can't get with it.
Yeah, and you know what, real quick before we hit the break, and ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all tune in, not just tune in, but y'all let us know what you think about this, right? to Herm's point, do you think it was right that the parent, or not the parent, but the teacher said, you know what, we just go take a day off and just talk about, my sexual orientation? You get what I mean? If you are what kind of teacher was he? What was he teaching? Geography?
Geography.
See, now I got a problem with that.
You're not even a health teacher.
Yo,
you're not even a health teacher. What you doing, man?
Do your job.
What's that got to do with it? What's that got to do with it? Anyway.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a whole nother subject. But y'all let us know what y'all think. Y'all, we'll be right back with the Lions Den. Make sure you're hitting the share button, okay? Make sure you hit it. Share, because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. We'll be right back.
Monique Slater is a top negotiating award-winning real estate agent in San Antonio, Texas. Her focus is on educating and empowering individuals on building general wealth through homeownership while providing exponential service with integrity and excellence. Although her heart is for serving first-time homeowners and the military community, her clientele ranges from $100,000 to $2.5 million. Monique has developed an awesome team that can get anyone into a home and has sold homes in less than 6 hours. After servicing the Air Force for over 28 years, retired Chief Slater has a massive network, so she can connect you with an awesome agent anywhere in the U.S. And if you're in San Antonio or relocating there, give Monique a call first to help you find your dream home. Give Monique a call at 210-237-7268.
One thing we can cherish during these times is family dinners. Think about it, the nice, succulent southern fried chicken, baked beans cooked to perfection, creamy macaroni and cheese, cornbread. You get the point. Come check out Kevlar's Grill, where all the meals are cooked with perfection, professionalism, and love. Located outside the Scott Air Force Base back gate inside the VFW is where you can find them. Also, they have military discount for all of our serving members. Give them a call. Their number is 618-416-5700, and that's inside Scott VFW Post 4183. And they also have Grubhub. Call them now and tell them that the Lions Den sent you.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to the Lions Den with Seth. Y'all, we're here talking about the lessons beyond the classroom. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the share button. Let individuals know what we're talking about and that you are here engaged. And hopefully you are engaged. Let us know where you are right now. As for example, you can tell I don't have my wonderful background because I am in a whole different state. Connecting with individuals with the Air Force Wounded Warriors, helping to inspire them, and talking to the Air Force Wounded Warriors team, caregivers, as far as the things that they can do, being a little bit more resilient and helping change their thought process. So if you are anywhere watching us, let us know where you are at right now. So, fellas, what do you think, or why do you think education is important, especially now, to our kids? The reason why I asked that is because Larry sent us some information as far as things that that we can consider, and one thing that stuck out to me is worldwide values. Right. So what this says is that education is the best way to ensure a positive world value in view. Without proper education, how else do we know what's considered appropriate and how to behave? So that kind of goes in line with what we were talking about. You get what I'm saying? So how does, I believe that that's a way, that's a reason why the teachers are important for our kids' education, to help to communicate things that we don't know how. What you think, Larry?
Yeah. From that article, I looked at that, man. What I like about it is it talks about the old cliche that we all know, right? Children are our future, which is so true. So school sets that foundation, whether it's reading, doing math, thinking critical, all those aspects, working around your peers, just all that stuff that can encompass being in the school. It sets them up for adult life if it's used appropriately, right? And motivating and teaching them. So I think education is important just on the value of learning how to understand things around you, understand how that you need to carry yourself going into this life we call this real world thing. And setting them up for chasing their dreams, whatever their dreams are, even if they don't know what they want to do, they'll figure it out. But at least they got that foundation on how to count money, how to read contracts, how to read what the hell they're signing their name on, even though they don't write in cursive anymore. Just the foundation of growth and being able to like, take it for instance, the guys that are there, because especially, all these athletes that are going to college and some of them are getting them NIL deals. Understanding how to read a contract and know what the hell you're signing your name to, or if you go and you want to be in the entertainment industry, you want to be a rapper, you don't need a college degree to be a rapper, but know what the hell you're signing, because in the 90s they was getting screwed over because they were just signing their name. Oh, give me $100,000, okay, I'm signing my name, but guess what? I own you for the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. So it's the basic foundation of read, writing, comprehension. That's my take on it. Mm.
Man, and for me, I just look at income. You know what I mean? You look at starting out, when I left the military, when I retired, looking for jobs and whatnot, and my really first time really paying attention to what the outside folks really make. I never really thought about what they was making, what they was trying to survive off of. And looking at the jobs that required a bachelor degree, they started out about 45, 50, masters higher. But the people that just got out of high school is like 30, 25, It's like, that's where you start to see where, what we always keep harping on now, generational wealth. That's where you see the separation start. Because if we don't go to school, we don't have access. Well, I mean, we do know about trade schools and all that stuff. And, some of the exceptions, But generally speaking, when you come straight out of high school into the workforce and you get these entry-level jobs coming out of high school, it's going to take you maybe 10, 15 years to start making, what people that have a master's kind of start off with. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm generalizing a little bit because different jobs do different things.
Correct.
But I think that's one of the first things people need to understand is like, man, you put yourself at a big disadvantage when you try to go out and put yourself out there in the workforce without a degree or without skills. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be suffering. You're going to be suffering and not being able to really truly provide. You're going to have to work 2 or 3 jobs and not be there for your family. Constantly have money issues, So I think that's one of the things when we talk about the importance of education and what, the reason why we had to get HBCUs and things like that, because it was a big separation of income between, black and white folks, whatever, minorities, majorities. So I think that's the reason why education is important, first and foremost.
Okay. So check it out. Go ahead, Larry.
I was saying, keep in mind, I saw a meme on Facebook the other day that talked about folks comparing, like, they're saying billionaires today didn't graduate college, right? You think about your Amazons, your Microsoft, but you got to keep in mind, these same folks that didn't graduate college, went to the Ivy League school, though. So what does that tell you? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you can't compare apples to oranges, because maybe they didn't graduate the Ivy League school, but they got accepted into it. So what does that tell you? The intellect was there. They still had the knowledge, whether it's natural or they learned it through school.
What they needed from that college.
Exactly.
And started that business.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm glad you said that, because theoretically, when you think about school and further education is essentially helping you to learn how to think. You get what I'm saying? Learn how to think. So it's not about, hey, this is all the stuff I'm gonna give you just so you can regurgitate it and you take a test, right? But after when you go into further, to higher education, do you know how to think? And to your point, how long do you need to go to school until you realize, wait a minute, I got this. Now let me go and apply this. You get what I'm saying? So I believe that school is important to different individuals based off of who they are. You get what I'm saying, and how they retain information. What you gonna say, Herm?
You know what else to add on top of learning how to think, man? You learn how to network.
Yeah.
Because now you in there with people that's, got the same mindset as you. You know what I'm saying? And most of the times when these people go start off a business, who they contact? They're not contacting their friends from back home.
Right.
We went to college together.
See,
you know what I'm saying? You know, yeah, we was in a fraternity together or something. You know what I mean? They shared that higher level of thinking with each other, and they could trust each other. Like, yo, this person's going to try to get after it as well. You know, so they could trust that. You know, so you learn how to network, think. You're around other people that wants more in life. You know, iron sharpens iron type of mentality.
Absolutely.
I think those are the reasons why, you know, you got to look at school. I mean, yes, the education is great, but think about all the people you rubbing shoulders with, future politicians, lawyers, you know what I'm saying, business executives, you know what I'm saying, business owners. They're all there.
And let me add one more thing to that. I'm gonna throw myself into this, right? Because some folks look at me and they're like, "Yo, Catch, man, why you going after your master's degree? You don't need it. You cool. You got military. You got all this." And it's like, I'm not going after a master's degree to just say I got a master's degree. Like, I am a firm believer of education. I don't just talk this talk. I really walk the walk. And I am all about learning and continually growing myself. And it's things that I'm learning in masters that I didn't learn in undergrad, that I didn't learn at the community college, that I didn't learn in the Air Force. So a lot of it is stuff that kind of builds upon itself. But some of it is just reading the stories of some of these corporations and how they started and some of the things that they went through that I don't get through the news or through reading books. It's like, I didn't get this until I read this textbook. I'm like, damn, I didn't know Amazon had to go through X, Y, and Z to get to where they was. But how would I else would I know that if I wasn't in this class, you know, pursuing my education? So it's not about putting stuff on the back of this wall. It's about my own self-development, because I'm trying to make my own self as marketable as I can, one, and two, as educated as I can, because there's just too much stuff out here to learn. You don't know everything. So you need to go to an organization or an establishment that's going to teach you what you need. That's it.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that too, because as we're talking to our kids and grooming them, right, it's our responsibility to know who they are and to give them the best education to help to cultivate that. You get what I'm saying? The best that we can. And true, like we have done this many of times, we can admit what we don't know. The unfortunate part is when we have parents that tell their children's or their kids, hey, you don't need to know that. You all right. No, you see what I'm saying? Because here you are in your mid 40s and you still don't know how to balance a checkbook. Why you even need to know how, but you don't even know how. You don't know. You get what I'm saying? So why would you take that away from your child? In my personal opinion, is that it's fear-based, meaning I'm afraid, not just afraid, I'm embarrassed because I don't know. I'm not going to put my child in a situation so they can know more than me because I didn't deem it as being important. Herm, what you think about that?
I think you're right on that point, because you know some parents have this weird jealousy of their children. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, now for the most part, I run across people that want to see their children be more successful than them. You know what I'm saying? But there's some people that be like, you ain't gonna be shit because I wasn't shit. You know what I mean? There is that mentality out there. It's broken homes. You know what I'm saying? That person was broken before they became a parent and didn't understand the responsibility that they had as a parent. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you probably came from a jacked up situation. You know, you probably didn't make the most out of your life. But why would you want that for your kid?
See?
You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you try to? Why? Okay, man, you knew how hard your life was because you came from a jacked up situation. But there's some people out there that want their kid to follow directly after their footsteps. You know, like if my kids join the military, you know what I'm saying, after they graduate, I still be proud of them. That's not what I want for them. You know what I mean? I did that. You know what I mean? I joined the military, did 21 years. You know, if they did do it, I'll be like, okay, make sure you get your degree early. You know, don't wait around. You know, I'll be trying to stomp that home, because what I want for my kids is to go to college when they get out. You know, I had nobody really to tell me, hey, you should go to college. I'm thinking, man, I ain't smart enough to go to college. I mean, I was right. I was telling myself the truth. You know what I mean? But I was thinking, man, I can't.
Yeah, you're right.
I ain't gonna go to college. What I'm gonna do? You know what I mean?
You ain't gonna go there but waste money.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna do nothing but, you know, party the whole time, smoke some weed. But anyway, so, you know, military was good for me, you know. I want my kids to aspire. I want my kids when they graduate to be like, this ain't my only option.
Mm-hmm.
I could do this, and this.
See,
you know what I'm saying? I didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? I thought I can do something that's going to put me in jail, work the factory, or go to the military.
See, and that's what I want to hit you with, Larry. What do you think about family members that may have spewed their negativity on younger individuals as they're getting ready to graduate or they're getting into college, right? Or, what do you think about that? Like, no, you shouldn't go and do that. That's stupid. And then afterwards, they see that child now is now being a part of their environment because of what they have been, what's been laid in their heart. Have you ever seen something like that?
Yeah, I see it all the time. Like even in my own family, sometimes they're like, "Oh," I was like, I'll ask a question. Hey, what do you plan on doing when you graduate high school? Some of them haven't even been asked that question, right? So when you ask them that question, the answer you generally get is what they always say. I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna go blah blah blah. And then this is what I do. So I dig deeper. I don't just ask the surface question. I say, all right, you're going to college. What college you apply for? Oh. Okay, so you're in apply for college. I said, okay, so we need to work on that because a plan without action is just a dream, right? You got to have some sort of action behind what you're saying you're going to do. And I talk to my little cousins, nephews all the time. Don't tell me what you think I want to hear because it sounds good. I really want to know what you want to do, what you plan on doing when you graduate high school. And if you don't know, just say you don't know. But I'll give you, hey, my route, what I did, I'll tell you about. You want to know about the military? I'll tell you, but I don't push it on them. But what I dislike and I see a lot is, oh no, my son ain't going to the military. He ain't fighting that white man's war. And I'm like, come on, bro.
That's a
white man's war? Like, really? We still talking about that? Like, do you know what the military can do for you? Especially for a child that don't really know where they want to go. I think it's a perfect fit. If you ain't going to college, you ain't going to college, you ain't going to trade school, and you ain't got a job lined up where you can grow. What's wrong with it? Do 4 years. Do 4 years and see what it do.
And learn a
my
skill.
4 years turned into 15, bro. I was only gonna do 4 and get out. That was my goal. I'm still in. Like, come on.
Yo, listen, hey, I did 4 5 times.
Right. So you just like,
I just knew I wasn't re-enlisted. You know what I
mean? Hey, Herb, check it out. Every time I wasn't gonna re-enlist, I was re-enlisted.
No, hey, I remember services had a $2,000 re-enlistment bonus. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. And then my boy like, yeah, I got 40,000. I'm like, what? I'm like, hold on. I'm like, damn. Air traffic control, he had like $40,000 or $50,000 in re-enlist. They gave me $2,000, dog. That shit too.
Hey, that's better than nothing. Some people don't get that.
Hey, I was just gonna say,
that was the last re-enlistment bonus services got.
Listen, every time they had one, I had just re-enlist or I wasn't able to. But the fact is, and while we're talking about the lessons beyond the classroom, y'all, is what type of experiences have we had that we can be able to give both sides? Because I believe sometimes our family members or people that we consider mentors, they're mentors to a certain point. You get what I'm saying? And then what happens is we keep going back there trying to get more, but they've plateaued. You get what I'm saying? So now let's kind of transition this to a point where how important is it to have individuals in your lives that do have that higher education or have more experience than your realm of influence?
It's important.
You said how important it is?
Yeah.
Go ahead, huh? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I say it's important. You always, to me, I want to be around people that is either in a better position than me or doing something that, I can aspire to do. I got cousins that own their own business. I'm talking about HVAC, electricians, whatever you want to call it. They own their own businesses and they not college graduates or anything like that. They learned the trade, boom, took it and ran off with it because they entrepreneurs. They business owners. That's what they do. Now, for me, that's not really my aspiration. That's not what I want to do. But at some point, I probably want to do it. So I took a different route. But I love what they're doing. They respect what I'm doing. I got family that working in corporations and hospitals and all this stuff. Like, to me, the more the merrier. The more I'm exposed to, the better it is for me. That's exactly how I look at it. I don't want to be around just folks that work in factories. My whole family, everybody's factory workers. So we look at anything outside of that. Nah, you ain't good enough. You ain't working in this factory. Nah, I want to know how you get your money, how you do it, and then I can incorporate how I want to do it and how I look at it. So I think it's important to have people in all facets of life, however you do it.
I feel like there's value in everybody. You know what I'm saying? Even the people that's plateaued, you could still go back and get some gems from them, right?
Yes.
But I'm gonna get philosophical on y'all asses real quick.
Go ahead.
Wait, hold on. You know what? That's that Jack Daniels.
Hold on, man. Let me get philosophical on y'all one time for the one time. All right. If a chef, you know what I'm saying, feeds me the same small portions every day, will I grow? No, I'm gonna have to move to another chef that's gonna feed me more so I can get big and strong. You know what I'm saying? Let that shit sink in for a second, man. Think about that.
Hold on, wait. You know what? Let me say this. I ain't letting it sink.
Man, you know what I'm saying?
That was the
thing. You ain't got a thing on you.
That was the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I said you think for less than that, dog. Get up out of here with that.
But your point though, it's like, what do you do, right? So you have to. I mean, because being honest, right, we naturally grow, but if we don't, in our minds, want to grow, but if we don't put ourselves in positions to do that, then we won't get that. And especially talking about our kids, how do we put our kids in positions where they get exposure more than just us? Because if we're still talking about, look, back in my day, I had to walk to school, blah, blah, blah. Well, they don't have to now, right? And you did everything you had to do so your children wouldn't have to do that. That sounds stupid to try to make them suffer like it's the 80s and it's 40 years later. That's stupid. So
places, man. That's why you put them around people like different organizations and stuff like that, to where they're going to get that from. Because even though you're a parent, you love them to death and all that, you don't know everything. You know what I mean? You could be smart in certain aspects, but my kid wants to be a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Besides watching Law and Order, what do I know about being a lawyer? You know what I mean? Like, I need to find people that know how to become a lawyer that she could talk to and ask questions to. You know what I'm saying? And it's important for you to know that and trust other people with your child to be like, look, this is what my child aspires to be.
Right.
At her age right now, what should she be doing so she can get to that step?
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree. What you got, Larry? What you gonna say?
I was gonna say I saw another meme, and you know I like these memes that are out, right?
Larry's the meme monster.
I am, bro. But some of them are good though. It's like sometimes it's like really stuff that really hits you and make you think though. So this one said, "We are hood parents raising suburban kids." Right now, not to say all of us are hood parents, but the gist of it is what we went through is kind of like what you would hit on. What we went through is so our kids don't have to go through. So I agree. I'm one of the ones that'll tell you, I hate y'all getting snow days. Like, shit, I had to walk 2-3 miles in the snow, but it's a different era. You get it? So what I'm saying is, well, how I look at it when I saw that meme was like, you know what? I get it now. I did do a lot of these things so that they didn't have to do a lot of these things that I had to do. You know, they don't know, and I'm going a different realm with this, but you know, the bullying today is different than the bullying we experienced, right?
Correct.
Even though we're not talking about bullying, but it made me stronger to who I am today compared to what these kids are. The slightest little negative talk can ruin them, can really bring them down. Versus us, we had to be quick. You know, okay, you thought, okay, you know, we had to snap back.
We got jokes then. You know,
you had to stand, and you know what? I'm glad you said that because this is a good segue to it, because hurt people, we'll put it like this, we're still individuals and we can still become hurt, but you got to understand this. We kind of put this in your mind. I'm gonna get philosophical with you. And all right, so look, check it out. Hey, what's going on? So listen,
there you go.
We grew up in, let's say, the crack pandemic. Think about it. All of that stuff that was going on, even if we was directly in it or indirectly, that was around us. Now, our children are being raised in a post-COVID pandemic, opioid pandemic, and social media. Right. So what I'm saying is them being bullied is still, it's not the boom, I'm gonna put your head in a toilet type of flush it type of thing type. You get what I'm saying? But it still affect them. So we have to be able to understand how they can build their resilience dealing with this new technical world, because it's out of line. Like I ain't had cell phones until, you know what I'm talking about. But now
I was 20 when I got a cell phone.
Look at it. And now as soon as somebody go to your daughter's page, or if your daughter has a page and say she look ugly, or they unfriend them, they will resort to suicide, bro. And that's real. And they think that life is just a reset button like a video game. No, this is real talk. So how do we cultivate that conversation? Like bullying is still bullying.
It's tough, man, because like we talk about bullying in my day, you know, the bullying let stop when I got into my house. You know what I mean? If it's going to happen, but they got 24 access, 24 hours, and then we tell just turn the phone off. That sounds reasonable to us. You know what I'm saying? But for the kids, man, they can't do it because
that's their lifeline.
Even if they turn the phone off, they still gonna go ham on them the whole time. And when they wake up, and then when they get to school, everybody's gonna be reading all them posts that they done made about you. You know what I mean? And you the flavor of the month, and they just roasting you. Everybody, and it's not just one person now. It's 100 people.
That's right.
You know, it's 100 people just roasting you. So I understand why. You know, at first when I first heard, I'm like, well, who cares about social media roasting? You know, like, who cares about? Now I see. You know, I can understand for these kids. It's like, okay, now I get it. I couldn't imagine me standing in front of the school and the whole school just clowning me.
Going,
you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like the whole school just clowning my clothes or whatever, or some mistake I done made. You know what I'm saying? That's what it would be equivalent to. You know what I mean? Because now the whole school's in your phone.
Right. And then picture this. You in the middle of your auditorium, everybody roasting you, and you can't move.
Can't do nothing.
Can't do nothing. And then listen, it's your voice against a whole 100 other kids. You get what I'm saying? Yep. So yeah, what you about to say, Larry? My fault, bro.
No, I was gonna say, in that situation, man, I don't even have an answer. I don't know.
There is no answer.
See, it isn't. That's what I mean. See,
you gotta love your kid through that stuff, man. You gotta love your kid through that stuff and let them know, like, hey, you're safe here, yeah, and just try to talk to them and weather that storm. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you gonna survive this. You know what I mean? But it's tough, man. And then you got to worry about any mistake your kid make on that phone. You know what I'm saying? It's you one send button away from ruining what could be your whole school year or your whole time while you're at school.
That's true. That's true. I would say one thing that will help, or that has helped me with Simone and different things. I'll let her know that a lot of y'all probably don't know, but people used to want to talk about me for the craziest reason in the world. I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? But I know, couldn't believe it myself. But I had to explain to her, listen, you are, you're beautiful. You're going to be, you're outstanding, but you have to understand that certain kids and people are going through their own life. You get what I'm saying? They're going through whatever they're going through. Even daddy's been picked on, you see? But it's about what you do with it. All right. Realize you can laugh it off and keep it going, but understand you are loved and you are protected here. And I don't think a lot of kids get that type of nurturing because it's like, if you think about it, how do certain parents teach their kids how to swim?
Throw them in the
water.
Throw them in the water. You see what I'm saying? And that by itself can be traumatizing. You know what I'm talking about? What you think about that, though?
I'm going to address what Mr. Tuggs just said.
Oh, go ahead. Chime in on it.
So, when they say kids are not as strong as they was back in the days, this ain't back in the days. You know what I mean? It's like our kids face something that we've never even came close to facing. You know what I'm saying? So how can we say that? You know what I mean? Our kids face today where not only people at their school was just clowning them, everybody can be just off of any world. You know what I mean? So it's we never faced that. We never faced where we had to be popular online, popular in school, and all that other type of stuff. So it's hard to say that kids is not as strong today. And I get that. You know, I understand where that sentiment come from because like you say, you rode by state bus and all that stuff. I get it. But the reason why the kids ain't doing that today because parents got access to electronics and the sex offender list. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure if my mom, when I lived in the trailer park and my mom knew about all of our neighbors that lived there, she wouldn't let me outside as much. Now you know exactly who's around, man. You read about murders in different states, kids getting abducted all the time. It's constantly in your face. Ain't no way I'm gonna put my kid on the bus. You know what I'm saying? On a city bus like that at their age. Hell no.
You know what? It's funny you said that too, because now that I'm thinking about it, what my mom did for me when I was younger, that's unheard of. You wouldn't just put your kid on the bus and say, go ahead, find your way home. You did what I'm saying? It's like cuckoo is cocoa, and also to your point too. It's like I don't know how I would have been able to respond today with this type of information. The only thing I can say is these kids are soft because they ain't drink water from the water hose. You know,
I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, look, hey, check it out. Hey, half of them wouldn't have COVID. What I'm saying is this social media space is totally different. You dig what I'm saying? But anyway, listen, y'all, we about to wrap it on up, man. Go ahead, Herm, since you got the screen, man. What's your last word, bro?
Hey, so what I want to say is, when it comes to education is important. Like I said earlier about just the payment gap between the people that have and have not. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to your kids, take that into account as you're guiding them forward. Don't just think about the pay, think about how education is going to better them as a whole. Some of y'all might look at your kid and think, this person won't survive in college. And that's probably not true. I think that's probably what happened with me. They're like, yeah, you need to go into the military. And the military worked out for me. But yeah, I can only imagine what life would have been like if I did go to college, say I was successful. I wouldn't know none of y'all. So that'd have been a pretty halfway good thing, I guess. But that's all I got, man. I want to thank everybody for watching and thank myself for being a good guest. And that's it.
I can't stand you. I really could. I hope you know that. Go ahead, Larry, bro.
Yeah, I like what Mr. Darren said, and let's keep speaking life into kids, man. I think that really sums up what I was going to say, because that is so true. We got to keep pushing them regardless of what we think this person can make it or not make it in college. You never know. Some people can go to college and actually aspire. All it takes is a spark. One professor, one girl, woman, dude, whatever, and it changed their whole life. Mm-hmm. So we can't put them in this box and say, well, you ain't fit for this, you should do this. I encourage whenever I'm talking to young folks, I always say, hey, figure out what you want to do. I don't care what avenue that is, military, trade school, college, or going into the workforce. That is for you to choose. That is your life. Think about what kind of life you want and then go chase after that. Whatever way that takes you, it is what it is.
Right on. Yes. And look, man, my last point would be this, y'all. Be the change that you want to see all the time, right? Just because you graduated high school, college, or whatever, you can still learn. And also, too, I want you to make sure you understand to be the example to help the teachers. It's not the teacher's job to raise your kids, regardless of what you think. As soon as you drop them off, boom, they got them. No, because they still got to come back to your crazy ass. You see what I'm saying? So make sure you have a working relationship with the teachers and the community leaders to help build that community, because you can't say out of one mouth it take a village, but then on the other side of your mouth you don't want to be a part of that village. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Lion's Den, and yes, we're going to have a part 2 to this. Most definitely we're going to have a part 2 to this. Make sure y'all chime in, let us know if this is what y'all want to see, this is what y'all want to do, and we're going to holler at y'all soon. Right on later.